Hello, family. Thank you for coming back to my page and sharing with me on today. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. I'm sharing wonderful health and wellness tips for strengthening your mental health every week. And so, welcome back. If you've already been here, like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Do all that great stuff so you never miss any of the content that I bring your way. I'm outside today. I'm actually on my kids' play set, just in the backyard getting some fresh air on this beautiful Sunday. I wanted to bring to you a video today about anxiety, but more specifically, challenging anxious thoughts as it relates to COVID-19. I haven't talked about COVID yet, and it's been something that has been ravaging our country, our world, for over a year now, and we're still very much in this pandemic. And whether you've had your own experience with COVID or witnessed others' experiences with COVID, it has impacted you in some kind of way. So I wanted to just bring some support for anyone that has dealt with anxiety as it relates to COVID. This past week, and this is something that really prompted me to do this video. This past week I was under the weather, and usually around this time of year, every year I'm under the weather because of the change of seasons. I felt a little sniffle in my nose, a little congestion, my throat was a little sore, typical allergy symptoms. But what was the first thing that my mind went to? I've got COVID. I started questioning my actions over the past week or so. Was I too exposed? Should I have gone to, work? Did I expose anybody? Did I pick this up from here or there? And so my mind just, over the course of the week just kept questioning itself and turning over different thoughts and scenarios and what ifs, and all of these kind of things are out of our control. And I recognized what was going on. I was experiencing anxiety related to COVID. I went to the doctor, and let me say, I drove over an hour to get to a facility that would do a rapid test. Got the results, and they were negative, thank God. And then I also did a PCR test too, just to get additional clarification that yes, indeed, my test results were negative, and there was no COVID there. And those came back negative too. But what I recognized through that whole dilemma was that if I experience this in this 1 week, what in the world are people all over the world experiencing every day? Seeing, people getting sick, hearing about the news, and the vaccine and the virus going up and all these different things. And I'm like, there's a lot going on, and a lot of anxiety I'm sure that people are experiencing around COVID. And so today I just wanted to bring you all some support. I wanted to talk about some coping skills as it relates to anxiety, specifically about your thoughts, because what I was experiencing, there's so many different symptoms that you can experience when you have anxiety. What I was experiencing more so was the anxious thoughts. And so today I want to specifically talk about anxious thoughts. And what you can do to control those things. And so whether it's related to COVID or not, these type of skills can be put into place, but specifically as it relates to your thoughts and any anxiety that you experience with sickness and dealing with COVID, I hope that this video helps you today.
The purpose of this video is to teach skills that support challenging anxious thoughts that exist due to fear of contracting COVID-19. This video is not intended to deter anyone from getting tested regularly, following their doctor's orders, or having safe practices in place to prevent the spread of the virus. Please do continue to be safe. Step 1. Determine if your thoughts are rational. Sometimes, when feeling anxious, we can have faulty and distorted thinking. When our bodies feel stress, this increases this type of faulty and distorted thinking pattern that leads us to being more irrational. So examine your thoughts. Ask yourself, are my thoughts rational? Do they make sense? Am I being realistic in my view of this situation? It may even help to write your thoughts down onto paper so that you can see them and begin to question them. If you find that your thoughts are irrational or not realistic, then you know that your perception and your view of the situation is distorted. Perhaps you can take a step back from the situation and view it from a different lens. Invite your spouse, a friend, or a loved one to even reason and talk through your thoughts with you. Is their perspective different from yours? You may even want to try practice writing a counter statement that is more realistic and rational. This sounds like this example. Irrational statement. I have a headache. This means I have COVID. Rational statement. This headache that I have is not the result of having COVID, but this headache could be a result of me working a long shift yesterday with having a lot of screen time, and oh yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Being able to replace those irrational thoughts with more rational ones will help you to reframe your distorted thinking and decrease your anxiety. Step 2. Check the evidence. During times of high stress, our thoughts can become irrational, convoluted, and not based on facts but opinions. The best way to challenge these thoughts are to explore the evidence by putting your thoughts on trial. Ask yourself, is this thought I'm having true? What makes this thought true? What evidence do I have to support that this thought is true? Is there any evidence to challenge the validity of this thought? Are there other possible outcomes or thoughts that could also be true? What are they, and what evidence do you have to support it? This sounds like this example. Thought, I've got a sore throat, so I must have COVID. You would check the evidence by saying, is this thought true? Not totally. What makes it true? Well, a sore throat can mean a lot of things. So maybe it's not 100% true. Check the evidence. I have no evidence other than a sore throat is one symptom of COVID, but a sore throat can also mean other things. Challenge the validity. I have been safe. I'm vaccinated. I'm not in large crowds. All I do is go and get groceries, work from my home office, and I spend my weekends at home with my family, so my exposure is very little. And then lastly, is this the only outcome? No. A sore throat does not always mean COVID, but there are other possibilities that exist. Again, you can also check the evidence by writing it out and visually seeing your thoughts broken down onto paper with the true counter responses. Does it all add up? By doing this, you will also help to reduce the anxiety felt by not challenging those anxious thoughts. Step 3. Explore all possible outcomes. Anxiety can bring on a thought pattern known as all or nothing thinking. This type of thinking only presents us with one possible outcome to our situation. It gives us an inability to see the alternatives in a situation or solutions to a problem. And for people who have anxious thoughts, this often means only seeing the downside to a situation. Not only can our anxious thoughts be influenced by the irrational and distorted thinking patterns, this thought pattern can also take us down a rabbit hole of other anxious thoughts that only lead us to that one ultimate downside and ultimately leave us with only one outcome. Here's how you can change this up and explore all possible outcomes. First, listen to this example of what it sounds like to have only one outcome with all or nothing thinking. Example, I have a cough. This runny nose and this cough must mean I have COVID. I had to have gotten COVID yesterday when out buying groceries. Oh my goodness, I've exposed my children and my spouse to the virus. I am a horrible person. Now I feel like I can't breathe. I think I'm about to die. Thinking like this sets in and causes your anxiety symptoms to increase past your thoughts and now present itself in other feelings and sensations in your body. Now you're feeling fatigued, irritable, can't focus, isolating, beating yourself up for not being safe enough, despite the fact that you're fully vaccinated, practice social distancing, and mask up everywhere you go, which is literally nowhere. Now, let's try this same example exploring other possible outcomes that can also be true. Example: this cough or runny nose could mean the seasons are changing and your allergies have been triggered. You could have a common cold. Perhaps you didn't sleep fully covered up last night and maybe you caught a chill while sleeping. You do have asthma, and a cough can be a symptom of the asthma that you've been having your entire life. Or perhaps that runny nose means you have a sinus infection. All possible outcomes that can be treated safely at home and do not result in a COVID diagnosis or death by COVID. You see, being able to explore all of these outcomes helps you to reduce the additional discomfort that anxious thoughts can bring about in your body and eliminate further possible exposure by going to the doctor. And it can also increase your likelihood of taking care of yourself quicker by addressing your immediate needs.